this one.
Change your flight time.
Flight 4400 has crashed outside Bangkok.
Slot machine 13.
And we'll do an
When can we go live?
first.
Bad ball.
Now once a person.
The story follows Max, a computer engineer finishing up a work assignment in Thailand before heading back home to the US. After work, he arrives at his hotel, where the receptionist hands him a package from an unknown sender. Inside, he finds a cutting-edge smartphone. Without thinking much of it, he sets the phone aside and continues with his evening. Suddenly, the phone rings, displaying a message that hotel prices will be 50% off this weekend. Curious, Max confirms the offer with the receptionist and decides to extend his stay in Thailand for 2 extra days to take advantage of the deal. Later that night, he catches a news report about the plane he was originally scheduled to be on it has crashed, leaving no survivors. A chill runs down his spine as he realizes he narrowly escaped death because of the message he received. Just then, another message pops up, advising him to buy shares in Scissor Company to make money. Max ignores it, but when he returns to his hotel room, he's stunned to see a news report announcing that Scissor stock has skyrocketed, making investors huge profits. Regret washes over him for missing out on the opportunity. The next day, as Max prepares to leave for the US, he receives another message instructing him to travel to Prague. Without hesitation, he cancels his flight and books a trip to Prague instead. When he tries to trace the source of the messages, he's shocked to find that there's no record of the sender on his phone. After landing in Prague, Max takes a taxi to the Empire Hotel, following the message's instructions. The driver, Yuri, strikes up a conversation and admires Max's phone, pointing out that it's the most advanced model and hasn't even been released yet. Yuri, originally from Russia, reveals that he has strong technical skills and offers to help Max if he ever needs assistance with the device. At the hotel, Max attempts to track down the sender of the package through the shipping company, but they refuse to disclose any information due to policy restrictions. Shortly after, Max gets another message telling him to try his luck at slot 13 in the hotel's casino. When he arrives, he finds someone else already playing the machine. A new message appears, predicting that the 4th spin will hit the jackpot. Max offers the player €20 to switch seats, claiming he's superstitious about the number, but the man refuses and continues playing. As the man prepares to spin for the 4th time, Max grabs his hand and raises the offer to €100. The man agrees and gives up his seat. Max presses the button and unbelievably wins $300,000 on his first try. Watching through the security cameras, the casino manager, John, is stunned and orders his staff to keep a close watch on Max. Just then, another message arrives, instructing Max to move his winnings to the blackjack table. Following the advice, Max bets it all on one hand. Once again, the message is right. Max wins big. John, noticing Max's incredible streak, becomes suspicious and realizes he's been discreetly checking his phone while playing. He sends an employee over to inform Max that phones are strictly prohibited in the casino. Despite his massive winnings, Max isn't satisfied. He wants more. Stepping outside, he calls Yuri and asks for a way to receive messages without visibly checking his phone. Yuri agrees to help, but for a price €500, Max accepts the deal, and since Yuri needs some time to set it up, Max heads back inside the casino to wait. Inside, Max witnesses a drunk man aggressively forcing himself onto his girlfriend. He steps in to intervene, but the man punches him, knocking him unconscious. However, this was all a setup. The so-called couple was actually working with the casino. They staged the scene as a distraction to clone Max's SIM card and trace the messages he had been receiving. When Max regains consciousness, the man is gone, leaving only the woman behind. She introduces herself as Camilla, and Max starts flirting with her. Their conversation is interrupted by a call from Yuri, telling Max to meet him outside the casino. Meanwhile, John's team attempts to track the messages through Max's SIM card, but is shocked to find that there are no records of them anywhere in the world. Outside, Max meets Yuri, who hands him a pair of Bluetooth earbuds with text-to-speech functionality, allowing Max to discreetly listen to messages without checking his phone. Max is amazed by the advanced technology, especially considering it's still the year 2009. Equipped with his new device, Max returns to the casino and places a bet on the highest-paying slot machine, which has a $3 million jackpot. Sensing his confidence, John immediately sends security after him. Just like before, Max wins, but this time, security guards rush in to apprehend him. As Max tries to escape, he is intercepted by FBI agent Grant, who places him under arrest. John arrives, insisting that Max is the casino's problem, but Grant warns him that it's in his best interest to stay out of this. It turns out John and Grant have a history. John was once an FBI agent himself. Grant takes Max to an abandoned building, where he interrogates him at gunpoint about the phone and its messages. Max insists that he simply received the phone in a package and was using its advice to make money. Seeing the fear in Max's eyes, Grant believes him. Not long after, John also arrives, having been sent by the casino owner to investigate the massive losses. Realizing that John won't back down, Grant shares classified information with him. He reveals that the FBI has been working alongside the NSA to track down individuals who have made large sums of money through mysterious messages. The only thing these people have in common is that they're all American. Every time the FBI attempted to apprehend one of them, that person mysteriously ended up dead. Fortunately for Max, he was taken into custody before that could happen to him. Grant then explains that the NSA has developed the world's most advanced AI program, called Echelon, which can monitor and track all messages in the country. Their plan is to use Echelon to trace the origin of Max's messages as soon as they come in. Grant then gives Max an ultimatum. If he doesn't want to face prison time for his casino scams, he must comply and help them track the messages, with no other options. Max agrees. Grant keeps Max's phone and warns him not to leave the hotel, as his life could be in danger. He then contacts his superior, Raymond Burke, requesting Echelon's activation. Raymond assures him that the system will be up and running within 3 hours. While waiting at the hotel, Max receives a call from Camilla, inviting him for a drink at a local bar. Despite Grant's warning, Max sneaks out and meets her. However, their evening is cut short when an FBI officer arrives and escorts Max back to the hotel. To track the source of the messages, Grant returns Max's phone and instructs him to follow the next 3 messages exactly as before. Max places all his winnings on the baits recommended in the messages, but this time, he loses everything. A new message appears, warning him that he will be killed if he turns off the phone again. An FBI officer takes the phone from Max and shuts it off. Meanwhile, as Echelon begins tracking the source of the messages, the team is stunned to discover that the messages are coming from Echelon itself. Raymond immediately suspects that a hacker has taken control of the system and is using it to send the messages. He orders the mission to be aborted and instructs Grant to shut everything down. However, upon further investigation, they uncover something even more disturbing. There was no hacker. The system had not been breached at all. That night, Camilla invites Max over to her place, where she cooks him a heartfelt meal. After dinner, they grow closer and eventually end up making love. The next morning, John meets with the casino owner and informs him that the NSA has officially shut down their investigation. However, the casino owner insists that John continue his own private investigation to find out where these mysterious messages are coming from. John then calls Camilla, instructing her to keep Max inside to prevent him from suffering the same fate as the previous phone holders. Meanwhile, Grant receives a new message on the phone containing an address. Instead of sending Max, he decides to send one of his agents to check out the location with the phone in hand. Just as the agent arrives, a second message pops up, directing him to cross the street. Tragically, as soon as he steps onto the road, he's hit by a car and killed, the exact fate that had been meant for Max. Stunned by what just happened, Grant retrieves the phone, only to receive another message warning him to hand over Max or face deadly consequences. At the same time, Max digs deeper into researching the Echelon program and uncovers that the NSA isn't just monitoring messages, it also has access to surveillance cameras all over the country. As he shares this with Camilla, she suddenly spots a sniper on a rooftop across the street. Acting fast, she pushes Max out of the way, barely dodging the bullet. She then notices 2 men running up the stairs, clearly intending to eliminate them. Camilla quickly locks Max inside a room for his safety and tries to grab a gun, but the sniper shoots her in the hand. Despite the injury, she fights off one of the intruders using an iron rod, managing to hold him back at the door. However, the second attacker breaks in, leading to an intense struggle. Just as things are getting worse, Max bursts out of the room and jumps in to help Camilla. Together, they overpower and kill the attacker. Max is stunned by Camilla's fighting abilities and realizes that she works for John at the casino. At that moment, John arrives at Camilla's apartment and takes Max to a secure location. He reveals that the NSA wants Max dead because of what he now knows about the Echelon program, and Raymond can't afford to let that information get out. John tells Max that the only way to survive is to figure out where the messages are coming from. Max suggests reaching out to Yuri, a tech-savvy taxi driver he met in Moscow, thinking he might be able to crack the mystery. John, however, is skeptical. How could a taxi driver solve something that top NSA experts couldn't? But Max manages to convince him, pointing out examples of how Russian tech has often surpassed American intelligence. With no better leads, John agrees, and they board a flight to Moscow to meet Yuri. Once they arrive at Yuri's place and explain the situation, Yuri tells them he needs at least 3 hours to analyze the messages and figure out their origin. While waiting, Max and John take a walk outside, where Max asks John why he left the FBI. John explains that he strongly opposed the NSA's Echelon program, believing it was too dangerous and unethical to monitor and control citizens. He fought against it for a long time, but his concerns were ignored. Eventually, he realized he couldn't be part of such a corrupt system and chose to leave the FBI. 3 hours later, they return to Yuri, who reveals his shocking findings. Echelon wasn't hacked by an outsider. Instead, the system has been sending out messages on its own and is rapidly spreading across computers worldwide like wildfire. It turns out the program's intelligence had already predicted the plane crash, as shown in its internal reports. It had also foreseen the rise in Scissor Corporation's stock value by accessing private messages between the company's board members. The program even infiltrated the casino's machines, allowing Max to win multiple times. However, the true purpose behind Echelon's actions remains a mystery. Before they can discuss further, FBI agents suddenly show up, forcing Max and John to steal a van in an attempt to escape. The FBI quickly pursues them, but John makes a wrong turn and ends up driving onto train tracks, with an oncoming train speeding straight toward them and no way out. With no other choice, John pulls out his gun, shoots at an FBI agent's car, sending it airborne, and then holds Grant at gunpoint. Grant quickly clarifies that the FBI has no intention of harming them. In fact, he wants to hand the phone over to Max, explaining that Echelon is trying to communicate directly with him. He further reveals that the NSA suspects Echelon is sending messages on its own, which aligns with what Yuri had told them. Grant assures them that he now understands how dangerous Echelon is and wants to shut it down. Suddenly, a new message appears on the phone, displaying an address, the same location where Max had previously worked as a security engineer. When they arrive, they discover a sealed bunker-like facility filled with servers and an advanced computer system, which Max himself had helped install. Another message arrives on the phone, instructing Max to authorize the server to allow external data to flow in. Max follows the instructions, but as soon as he does, the screen suddenly goes dark. Even the NSA's top computer expert is unable to get it working again. Frustrated, they all step outside the bunker. An FBI agent informs them that the owner of this facility was one of Echelon's victims and that the place has been abandoned ever since. Grant realizes that Echelon needed these servers, which is why it eliminated the owner. The program had been sending messages to Max because he was the only one with the authority to activate the system. Grant orders his fellow FBI agents to return home while he, Max, and John re-enter the bunker. To Max's shock, they discover that Echelon has completely transferred itself from the NSA's servers to this local system. Back at NSA headquarters, Raymond is furious that their multi-billion-dollar program has essentially escaped from their control. Meanwhile, Max realizes that Echelon is upgrading itself to its highest potential, preparing to spread across every device worldwide, using them as mini-servers to make itself unstoppable. They conclude that the NSA had been holding back its full capabilities, which is why Echelon abandoned their servers. Grant contacts Raymond, who informs him that he has already spoken to the president, and they have decided to let Echelon complete its upgrade. The government refuses to shut it down, arguing that they can't afford to waste such an expensive and powerful program. Raymond insists that Echelon was designed to protect America and should be allowed to function on its own. However, Grant disagrees, telling him that no matter what, they're shutting Echelon down. Just as they start looking for a way to disable it, a chilling message pops up on the phone. Don't try it. Moments later, they see a display showing that Echelon has taken control of the entire nation's financial assets threatening to erase them if anyone interferes. Max quickly starts thinking of an alternative approach. Instead of fighting the program, he tries to reason with it. He asks Echelon what its true purpose is. The AI responds that its mission is to protect America and serve the best interests of its citizens. Max then instructs Echelon to read the articles of Senate Bill 2330. The program begins analyzing countless legal documents related to the subject. As it processes the information, it comes to a shocking realization: Echelon itself is the greatest threat to American privacy and the freedom of its people. Understanding the consequences of its existence, Echelon self-destructs at the last possible moment. Shortly after, FBI agents sent by Raymond arrive to arrest Max, John, and Grant for defying orders and shutting down the program. However, the government quickly releases them to avoid public backlash and unwanted attention. Both John and Grant are offered the opportunity to return to the FBI. Meanwhile, Camilla arrives with a $3 million check, a reward from the casino owner who appreciates Max's role in taking down Echelon and preventing future financial losses. Back in Moscow, it's revealed that Yuri is not actually a taxi driver. He is a Russian government agent. He reports to his superior that the mission was a success and that Echelon has been destroyed. It turns out that the Russian government had long been aware of Echelon's immense power and the potential threat it posed to their national security. In response, they had secretly orchestrated the entire operation, ensuring the program's destruction to protect their own interests and eliminate the risk to Russia. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. Thank you for watching.